Good morning. It is 7:10 a.m. on January 14th, Monday, 2019. I'm Christiana Ellis and I just woke up. This is 5 more minutes. I feel like after a couple of days where I wasn't sure I had a lot to talk about, I was struggling a little bit for new subject matter because the only things I had really done were things that didn't really require some specific update or that I wasn't ready to talk about yet. And then I go a couple of days with a normal weekend, and now I feel like there's tons of things to talk about. I feel like I look weird this morning. On Saturday, I went to see Bohemian Rhapsody at a Korean movie theater. Now, the Korean movie theater part actually pretty much like a lot like a regular American movie theater. Most of the movies, I don't want to say most, many of the movies were American Hollywood movies presented in English but with Korean subtitles. That's the standard, I'm told, for those movies. There were some movies that were Korean language movies, but I didn't see one of those because I don't actually speak Korean yet. So the biggest difference, I think, other than just obviously people speaking Korean in the theater, was that the concession stand sizes were sane instead of the insane ones that you have in America. So when you get a medium soda, it's like, it's just like a medium soda, like maybe a 20 ounce or something like that. Or maybe it was a little bigger than that. But the point is substantially smaller than what a medium would be in the United States, and same with the popcorn. So as far as the theater experience part, the only other thing that I thought was different is that at least in the one auditorium that I went to, if you've been to a multiplex recently and you noticed that there's sort of the stadium seating setup, but then there's usually a few rows really close to the screen up front that are on the flat part of the ground, well, this theater just didn't have those rows. And I thought it was an interesting thing because on the one hand, I don't think anybody enjoys sitting in those rows because it's so close to the screen. But the alternative is selling fewer tickets per auditorium, and so I think I don't know. The theater screening could sell out faster. I'm not sure why they made that decision. But, I suppose maybe there's something to be said for don't sell someone a ticket that's going to be a negative experience for them. Anyway, Bohemian Rhapsody itself, I think I might have to think about it a little bit more. What I can say right now is that it starts kind of slow. I think that the first half is kind of meandering, and it's hard to know exactly like what the movie's trying to say. I'm not sure it knows. And so it kind of, it's not enthralling in the first half, but it finishes strong. Everything after they start really hitting it big is really captivating stuff, and especially the climax is essentially just a concert reenactment of the big Live Aid concert, and it's very good. And so it's interesting to reflect on a movie that even if it starts slow, if it finishes strong, that's still the feeling that you leave the theater with. So it just goes to show you with a movie at least, starting strong, but then ending week will be seen as a bad movie, whereas starting weak but ending strong will be seen as a good movie. That's just how it works. But the journey of Freddie Mercury, I feel like the movie kind of punts a little bit in terms of trying to really understand him, which maybe, I don't know, is maybe it can really only observe him. And maybe that's fine. I have some complex feelings about that part of it that I'm not sure I have fully processed. I might have to think about it some more and maybe read some other perspectives on it to see which of them resonate with me. Anyway, so that was pretty good. I also had session 1 of the Space Casey RPG on Sunday morning, my time, and it went pretty well. I think that over the course of the weekend, I overloaded myself a little bit on some of my creative things, and sometimes what that can do is flip the switch in your brain from this is fun, I like this, we're doing great, all of a sudden to everything's hard and I don't like anything and I don't do anything. And I mean, none of that is true, but sometimes you just get that little circuit breaker go in your head, and I don't want to overstate it, but I got there a little bit over the weekend regarding my various creative projects where there's a little bit of the anticipation can be really big, and then when it finally happens, it doesn't even really matter how it went. The change from anticipating to reflection messes with the brain chemistry. So there's some of that. But, I need to just give that a little space, I think, and not worry about it over much, because I can understand that there's some just chemistry stuff happening there. And I guess last but not least, you know what? Let me talk more about Red Dead Redemption tomorrow. I finally did finish the Arthur's part of the story, so I'll talk more about that tomorrow, though, because I've already been talking for longer than I typically would for these, so I will talk to you tomorrow for 5 more minutes.